Today, I'm here to sound the battle cry. Fifth volume of the Testimony says, "Let the watchmen now lift up their voice and give the message which is present truth for this time. Let us show the people where we are in prophetic history." So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to start out by looking at the beginning and the end of President Trump's inauguration speech.
Thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Where in history did we see a golden age? Was it not in Babylon during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar? During their golden age, the people were made to bow down to an image. Today I'm here to tell you that things are not as they appear. Who is actually running the show? Do you know who spoke of a golden age or a golden era before President Trump? Heritage President Kevin Roberts. The golden era of American conservatism will soon emerge. Robert argues that although the conservative movement faces challenges from the forces arrayed against us on the left, many see little reason for optimism. But if history is our guide, then we have every reason to believe that the golden era of American conservatism will soon emerge. Now, this was back in December of 2021, right after Biden got elected. January 24, 2025, time. Trump's early actions mirror Project 2025, the blueprint he once dismissed. President Donald Trump made clear during his campaign that he wanted little to do with Project 2025, the sweeping and controversial conservative policy blueprint created by the Heritage Foundation. But just days into his second term, many of Trump's early actions align with the Project 2025 agenda. 31 Project 2025 contributors served at various levels in and around Trump's first administration. And where is Project 2025's president, Kevin Roberts, getting his guidance from? Project 2025's Kevin Roberts and his association with the secretive far-right Catholic group, Opus Dei. Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts, often described as the architect of Project 2025, has ties to the far-right and secretive Roman Catholic group, Opus Dei. Roberts acknowledged in a speech last September that for years he has visited the Catholic Information Center, a K Street institution headed by an Opus Dei priest and incorporated by the Archdiocese of Washington, on a weekly basis for Mass and formation, or religious guidance. Now, Kevin Roberts previously served as president of Wyoming Catholic College. He's also the founder of John Paul the Great Academy, a K-12 Catholic liberal arts school in Lafayette, Louisiana. Back in 2015, the Pope put out an encyclical entitled Laudato Si, on care for our common home. The Sunday law is embedded within this encyclical. Also interesting to note that the Laudato Si has 6 chapters, and in chapter number 6, in section number 6, is embedded the Sunday law, 666. It reads, "On Sunday, our participation in the Eucharist has special importance. Sunday, like the Jewish Sabbath, is meant to be a day which heals our relationships with God, with ourselves, with others, and with the world. And so the day of rest, centered on the Eucharist, sheds its light on the whole week, and motivates us to greater concern for nature and the poor. This is the Sunday law embedded within the encyclical letter, Laudato Si. Project 2025 also has the Sunday law embedded within its mandates. Now, when they talk of Sabbath rest, they're also referring to Sunday. It reads, God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest, and until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation of work on that day. Moreover, a shared day off makes it possible for families and communities to enjoy time off together, rather than as atomized individuals, and provides a healthier cadence of life for everyone. Unfortunately, that communal day of rest has eroded under the pressures of consumerism and secularism, especially for low-income workers. Now, Kevin Roberts put out a book back in November of 2024 entitled Dawn's Early Light, Taking Back Washington to Save America. It has its foreword written by our Catholic Vice President, J.D. Vance. And what is Project 2025's policy agenda? It says our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. Now, obviously, there are more members that make up this army than what I'm going to have time to share with you this morning. So let's just take a look at a few of the members that make up this army. Stephen Miller named Deputy Chief of Policy in new Trump administration. Now, this position did not require a Senate confirmation. Stephen Miller will be writing and implementing Trump's immigration agenda, which includes plans for mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. He will also be the President's Homeland Security Advisor. Stephen Miller is the founder of America First Legal, a law firm which drafted much of the policy in Project 2025. Trump announces Tom Homan, his former acting ICE director, will be administration's border czar. Now, this position also does not require Senate confirmation. Tom Homan will be in charge of our nation's borders. Homan is a co-author to Project 2025, authoring a number of articles for the organization on immigration policy, which proposes mass detention and deportation of undocumented or illegal immigrants in order to regain control of the border. Trump picks former top U.S. spy John Ratcliffe to lead CIA. This is a Senate-confirmed position, and yes, he has been confirmed. Ratcliffe will oversee the nation's largest foreign spy agency. The CIA collects and analyzes intelligence, conducts covert paramilitary operations, counterterrorism, and offensive cyber operations. He previously served as Trump's Director of National Intelligence. He's credited as a contributor to Project 2025, with the agenda's chapter on the intelligence community citing an interview with Ratcliffe about working in the first administration. Trump picks Project 2025 co-author to lead White House's Budget Office. President-elect Donald Trump has selected Russell Vought as his pick to lead the Office of Management and Budget. This is a Senate-confirmed position, and yes, Vought has been confirmed. Now, Vought held this office also during Trump's first term. Russell Vought will oversee the agency tasked with preparing the budget proposed to Congress annually by the President. He also manages the financial paperwork of other agencies. Vought authored Project 2025's chapter on the Executive Office of the President of the United States and reportedly spearheaded the project's playbook for Trump's first 180 days. Now, Vought had an interesting mishap back in August of 2024. Hidden camera video shows Project 2025 co-author discussing his secret work preparing for a second Trump term. Now, Vogt thought that he was speaking to wealthy conservative donors, but the men he was talking to actually worked for a British journalism nonprofit and were secretly recording him the entire time. Vogt said he had personally talked to President Trump in recent months and received at least one personal assignment from him after he left office. He noted that the former president has been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it. He's very supportive of what we do. Trump picks Brendan Carr to lead the Federal Communications Commission. Now, this also does not require any Senate confirmation. The Federal Communications Commission chair is responsible for regulating communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable across the United States. The FCC maintains jurisdiction over the areas of broadband access, fair competition, radio frequency use, media responsibility, public safety, and homeland security. Brendan Carr wrote Project 2025's FCC chapter. Now, according to Reuters, he's been a supporter of tech billionaire Elon Musk and his efforts to earn subsidiaries for broadband internet service. And speaking of Elon Musk, that is the next member of our army. Trump taps Musk to lead a Department of Government Efficiency with Ramaswamy. President-elect Donald Trump has tapped Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to head what he's calling the Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as DOGE. This does not require a Senate confirmation. Ramaswamy has since departed from DOGE in preparation to run for Ohio governor in 2026. Elon Musk will pave the way for the Trump administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and reconstruct federal agencies essential to the Save America movement. This is put out by the Dispatch, January 23 of 2025. It says, clever Trump executive order shrouds DOGE from public scrutiny. Adept White House legal maneuvering is shielding the new Department of Government Efficiency from Freedom of Information Act transparency regulations and sidestepping onerous federal staffing laws, providing maximum political and operational flexibility to President Donald Trump and Elon Musk, leader of the DOGE initiative. Trump formally established his effort to streamline government via executive order Monday, within hours of assuming office, and by shifting the existing U.S. Digital Service from the Office of Management and Budget to the Executive Office of the President and reconstituting the agency as a U.S. DOGE service. Trump ensured it would not be subject to the Freedom of Information Act, but rather the Presidential Records Act. This latter law grants presidents enormous latitude to keep communications and information secret from Congress and the public. So why all the secrecy? WeChat. Why does Elon Musk want X to emulate China's Everything app? Mr. Musk has long said that he wants to transform his social media firm, which he bought last year for $44 billion, into a much larger platform. He has previously praised WeChat, a so-called everything app that combines chat, dating, payments, and social media, and has said creating something even close to that with Twitter would be an immense success. So what is WeChat, and why does Mr. Musk want to emulate it? Launched by technology giant Tencent in 2011, WeChat is now used by almost all of China's 1.4 billion people. Its services include messaging, voice and video calling, social media, food delivery, mobile payments, games, news, and even dating. It is like WhatsApp, Facebook, Apple Pay, Uber, Amazon, Tinder, and a whole lot more rolled into one. Government services are also on WeChat, with users able to check Social Security information, pay speeding tickets, and book hospital appointments. And during the pandemic, it became an essential. While the whole country was under strict zero COVID restrictions, it was impossible to move around without a health code generated on the app. But there are several downsides to having so many features on one app. From a practical point of view, WeChat takes up a large part of a phone's memory. It's typically tens of gigabytes of data storage. More seriously, the huge reach of WeChat into every corner of Chinese life has raised concerns about government censorship, surveillance, and other privacy issues. This level of state control over the internet also makes it extremely dangerous for people to speak out against the government on WeChat. It is not unusual for dissenting voices to have their accounts suspended for days or weeks for something they have said in chats or on moments. Even people sharing seemingly uncontroversial information have found themselves on the wrong side of government censors and had their accounts and chat groups shut down. In other words, they can't get to their money. Kish Liao, Assistant Director of the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub, says super apps like WeChat align with Beijing's aims of organizing all aspects of life to keep control of the country. And that's what it's all about. It's about control. Will it work in the West? Actually, the West needs two things before it can work here. First of all, China depends on their phone, and it's easier to build an everything app on smartphones than it is on computers. Also, experts believe that it may all depend on digital payments. This actually goes hand in hand with the World Economic Forum. You've got healthcare, financial services, food and sustainability, travel and mobility, humanitarian response, e-commerce, social platforms, e-government, telecommunications, all in digital identity. In other words, a social credit system. Elon Musk has even posted on one of his social media sites that America is New Rome. Trump nominates Pete Hegseth to serve as Defense Secretary. Former Fox personality Pete Hegseth has been selected by President-elect Trump to serve as his Secretary of Defense. Trump says, "I'm honored to announce that I have nominated Pete Hegseth to serve in my cabinet as the Secretary of Defense." Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America First. And how badly did Project 2025's president, Kevin Roberts, want to get Pete Hegseth into office? An architect of Project 2025 is pressuring Republican senators to confirm Pete Hegseth. Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts said Thursday that his group will spend $1 million to pressure senators unwilling to back Pete Hegseth, whose nomination to lead the Pentagon has come into question due to his views on women serving in combat and reports about his personal behavior. Needless to say, his position has been confirmed by the Senate. Pete Hegseth will lead 1.3 million active duty service members, including soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, among a total of 3.4 million personnel worldwide. Hegseth would also be responsible for overseeing any use of the military on domestic soil. He'll also be leading the nation's premier spy agency, along with being responsible for foreign covert operations and collecting data on U.S. adversaries. Even though he did not contribute to Project 2025, 2025, he is a major part of the army. Why? Pete Hegseth's crusade to turn the military into a Christian weapon. He's an important part of the army because he wants to lead a crusade by turning the military into a Christian weapon. He authored a book entitled American Crusade, which was released on May 18, 2021. Now, Pete Hegseth has some very interesting body language. The Tattooed Secretary of Defense. Here is all of Pete Hegseth, Inc. and what it means. President-elect Donald Trump's controversial Secretary of Defense nominee, Pete Hegseth, is a war veteran, double Ivy Leaguer, a two-time Bronze Star recipient, and is covered in tattoos. Hegseth's most well-known tattoo is probably the large Jerusalem cross on his chest. The symbol, made up of one large cross with 4 small crosses around it, dates back to the Crusades, but has more recently been linked to problematic Christian nationalists. Hegseth also has the words Deus Vult, Latin for God wills it, on his bicep. The phrase is the closing sentence of his book, American Crusade. Similar to the Jerusalem cross, the Deus Vult is linked to the First Crusade in the early 1000s, when it was supposedly a battle cry for Christian invaders. Hegseth's arm features a cross with a sword that references the New Testament verse Matthew 10:34, which reads, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." New York Times writes, Pete Hegseth and his battle cry for a new Christian crusade. In his book American Crusade, Pete Hegseth wrote, "We don't want to fight, but, like our fellow Christians 1,000 years ago, we must." This is the person that will be in charge of the world's most powerful military and its nuclear weapons. So let's go back to the time of the Crusades. Now we're talking about the 11th, 12th, 13th centuries. For more than 2 centuries, the Crusades remained a powerful movement headed by the Pope. Numerous crusades were waged in the Holy Land, and the crusading ideal was applied to military and religious campaigns in Spain and Eastern Europe. Later, popes launched crusades against heretics and opponents of papal authority and sanctioned the emergence of military orders. The Crusades thus reflected the widespread devotion to the Church and to its leader, the Pope. Now, during a crusade, a designated Roman soldier would carry the standard, which was a sign or banner depicting their pagan gods. The very first Roman standards or ensigns were simple handfuls of manipulus of straws, hay, or fern, fixed atop poles or spears. Soon after that, however, with the expansion of Rome, their military replaced these with the figures of 5 different animals. These were a wolf, a boar, an ox or minotaur, a horse, and an aquila. For many years, the Roman legions regarded 5 military standards as equally important. However, this changed in 106 BCE, when Consul Gaius Marius implemented major military reforms. He eliminated 4 of these standards, leaving only the aquila as the most revered symbol of the Roman legions. The aquila remains one of Rome's most recognizable symbols and an important link to its past. Even today, aquillas continue to be representation of Roman heritage and history. What did the eagle symbolize in ancient Rome? The aquila was a prominent symbol used in ancient Rome, especially as the standard of a Roman legion. The aquila was a symbol of power and strength, and was often used as a rallying point for Roman troops in battle. The aquila was also a symbol of Rome itself and was often used on Roman coins and other propaganda materials. The legendary eagle, Aquila, was worshipped because the eagle was a symbol of Jupiter. So another name for the Aquila is the eagle. BBC. Bald eagle officially declared U.S. national bird after 250 years. The bald eagle is now officially the national bird of the U.S. after President Joe Biden signed a law on Christmas Eve bestowing the honor upon the white-headed and yellow-beaked bird of prey. The bird has been a national emblem in the U.S. for years, appearing on the Great Seal of the U.S., used on U.S. documents since 1782. You can also see it on the back of dollar bills and also the back of quarters. Do you see the parallel? Matthew 24, verses 15 and 16 say, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." And then if you turn to Luke 21, 20 and 21, it expands upon that thought. It says, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto." In Great Controversy, page 25, paragraph 4, the Lord's messenger tells us that when the idolatrous standards of the Romans should be set up in the holy ground, which extends some furlongs outside the city walls, then the followers of Christ were to find safety in flight. The fifth volume of the Testimonies, 464, paragraph 3, tells us that the time is not far distant when, like the early disciples, we shall be forced to seek a refuge in desolate and solitary places. As the siege of Jerusalem by the Roman armies was a signal for flight to the Judean Christians, so the assumption of power on the part of our nation in the decree enforcing the papal Sabbath will be a warning to us. It will then be time to leave the large cities preparatory to leaving the smaller ones for retired homes in secluded places among the mountains. And now, instead of seeking expensive dwellings here, we should be preparing to move to a better country, even a heavenly. The standard or banner has been lifted. It was lifted Christmas Eve of 2024. And now the American crusade has begun. Do we see how close we are to a Sunday law? You know, we also have a banner. It is the banner of Jesus Christ. We are to stand as subjects of Christ's kingdom, bearing the banner on which is inscribed the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. We need to have on the whole armor of God because the battle is about to get fierce. So, onward, Christian soldiers.